10. Stockton Rush. Stockton Rush was not just an investor in deep-sea adventure. He was the CEO of OceanGate, the company that built the Titan submersible. In 2023, he personally climbed inside it and took 4 passengers nearly 2.5 miles below the surface to see the wreck of the Titanic. Rush had dismissed safety concerns for years. He publicly told people that being cautious was for the timid. He thought the industry was obsessed with outdated rules written by people with no vision. He was convinced he had cracked something nobody else had. The Titan descended exactly as designed. Then, about 1 hour and 45 minutes into the dive, the cabin imploded. The pressure of the deep ocean did in milliseconds what Rush had spent years insisting would never happen. All 5 people on board were gone instantly. The wreck of the Titan was found near the very shipwreck they went to see. His sub worked perfectly. It just could not survive the world it was built to explore. 9. Henry Smolinski. Aerospace engineer Henry Smolinski wanted to build a flying car that regular people could actually buy. His creation, the AVE Mizar, was a Ford Pinto with wings and a rear engine from a Cessna Skymaster bolted directly onto the body. A dealership in California was already lined up to sell them. Pre-orders were already coming in. During an earlier test flight, the right wing strut came loose mid-air. The pilot landed it straight into a bean field and walked away. They noted the problem and carried on. On September 11, 1973, their regular test pilot was unavailable. Smolinski decided to fly it himself with his business partner in the seat beside him. About 2 minutes after takeoff, an air traffic controller watching through binoculars saw the right wing fold inward. The Mizar broke apart in the air, struck a tree, and exploded on impact. Both men were killed instantly. The NTSB confirmed the cause. The same bad weld on the same wing strut. They never fixed it. 8. Franz Reichelt. Franz Reichelt was a tailor with one obsession: invent a wearable parachute that could save pilots from falling planes. He tested it on dummies. He believed it worked. He applied for a permit to trial it from the Eiffel Tower, telling the authorities he would be using a mannequin for the drop. He showed up on February 4, 1912, with no mannequin. A crowd gathered below. A film crew set up. His friends begged him not to jump. He stood on the ledge of the first platform, 187 feet above the frozen ground, and held still for 40 seconds. Then he jumped. The parachute deployed exactly as designed. The canopy began to open. It just did not have enough altitude to fully catch the air. The half-closed chute wrapped around him, and he fell like a stone, hitting the ground so hard it left a crater 5 inches deep in the frozen earth. The mechanism worked. He just needed 500 more feet. He chose the Eiffel Tower. 7. Marie Curie. Marie Curie discovered polonium and radium, won 2 Nobel Prizes in 2 completely different scientific fields, and became the most celebrated scientist of her generation. She also carried radioactive isotopes in her coat pockets, stored samples casually in her desk drawer, and reportedly found the soft, blue-green glow of radium genuinely beautiful. Her personal notebooks from the 1890s are still radioactive today. Researchers who want to view them must sign a liability waiver and handle them with protective equipment. By the time medicine fully understood what prolonged radiation exposure did to the human body, Curie had been absorbing it for 30 years. In 1934, she died of aplastic anemia, a condition where the bone marrow loses its ability to produce blood cells. Radiation had destroyed it slowly and completely from within. Her discovery never failed her. It was so powerful, so real, so present in everything she touched that it eventually consumed the person who found it. 6. Thomas Midgley Jr. Thomas Midgley Jr. put lead in gasoline and invented CFCs, the chemicals responsible for the hole in the ozone layer. Some historians have called him the single organism with the largest negative environmental impact on Earth in history. Then in 1940, he contracted polio and lost the use of his legs. So he did what inventors do. He built something to solve it. He designed a system of ropes, pulleys, and levers rigged to his bed that could lift him up and help him move. It worked perfectly. Every single morning for 4 years, it got him out of bed without help. One morning in 1944, he was found dead. The ropes had wound around his neck during the night. The man who poisoned the planet twice was finished off by a bed frame and some rope. His last invention killed him as quietly as his others killed everyone else. 5. William Bullock. William Bullock did not just invent a faster printing press. In 1863, he invented one that could print both sides of a page at once, feed itself paper automatically, and crank out up to 30,000 newspapers an hour. Every major American newspaper wanted one. His machine genuinely changed how the world received information. By 1867, his presses were running around the clock in print rooms across the country. Bullock was overseeing an installation in Philadelphia when he spotted a drive belt that needed adjusting. He kicked at the belt to guide it onto the pulley while the machine was still running. The press caught his leg and pulled it in. The crush was severe. Gangrene set in rapidly. Surgeons attempted to amputate days later, but Bullock died on the operating table before they finished. His press was running at full capacity the entire time. It never stopped. It never malfunctioned. It simply did what it was built to do. He built a machine so powerful and so relentless that it had no interest in who was standing next to it. 4. Otto Lilienthal. Before the Wright brothers, Otto Lilienthal made over 2,000 successful glider flights, steering by shifting his body weight off hillsides in Germany. He published research, he was methodical, he was not guessing. His gliders worked every single time, and he had the photographs to prove it. He was the living proof that human flight was possible. On August 9, 1896, a sudden gust of wind hit his glider mid-flight. The craft responded exactly as it was designed to, adjusting to the aerodynamic force around it. But the gust was too powerful. The glider stalled, pitched forward, and Lilienthal dropped 50 feet to the ground. The fall broke his spine. He died the next day. His last words: "Sacrifices must be made." He had always known the cost. He went anyway. 3. Max Valier. Basti. Max Valier was obsessed with space long before anyone took the idea seriously. By 1928, he had helped build the world's first rocket-powered car and was hitting 250 miles per hour on public roads. He co-founded a rocketry society in Germany, whose members would go on to develop the technology that eventually put humans on the moon. By 1930, he had moved to liquid propellants, more powerful and far more volatile. He ran his tests sitting directly in front of the combustion chamber. No goggles, no fire-resistant suit, no concrete barrier between him and the engine. Just Valier and his rocket. On May 17, 1930, the engine exploded during a routine test. A fragment of metal punched through the chamber and severed an artery near his lungs. His colleague caught him as he fell. He was dead before they reached a hospital. He was 35 years old. His rockets worked. The technology he died building eventually carried humans to the moon. He just never got to see it. 2. Horace Lawson Hunley. During the American Civil War, Horace Hunley built a submarine to break the Union naval blockade. The H.L. Hunley was a 40-foot iron tube powered by 8 men turning a hand crank connected to a propeller. It had already sunk once during testing, killing 5 men. Hunley believed he understood the machine better than anyone alive. On October 15, 1863, he took command himself for another test run in Charleston Harbor. The submarine dove exactly as designed. It did not come back up. Hunley and all 7 of his crew were gone. The wreck sat on the ocean floor undiscovered for 130 years. When it was finally raised in 1995, the skeletons of Hunley and his crew were still at their stations. Forensic analysis suggests he may have accidentally triggered the dive fins himself, sending the vessel straight to the bottom with no way back. His submarine submerged perfectly. That was the whole problem. 1. Valerian Abakovsky. The Aero Wagon. In 1921, a 25-year-old Russian inventor named Valerian Abakovsky was given one job: build the fastest train in the world to carry Soviet officials across the country. His answer was the Aero Wagon, a rail car with a giant aircraft engine and propellers bolted straight to the front of it. Think of a locomotive built by someone who had clearly read too much science fiction and decided to simply go for it. On its test run carrying Abakovsky and a group of senior Soviet officials, it reached 87 miles per hour. For a land vehicle in 1921, that was not just fast. It was genuinely terrifying. The trip from Moscow to Tula was a complete triumph. Everyone on board was thrilled. On the return journey at full speed, the Aero Wagon hit a rough section of track. The vibrations from the engine combined with the velocity were more than the rail car could absorb. It left the tracks and crashed violently. 6 of the 22 people on board died instantly. Abakovsky was one of them. He was 25 years old. His machine did exactly what he built it to do. The world just was not ready for it yet.